The song you're hearing in the background is one I created using AWS DeepComposer, and I call it Cloud Life. Welcome to your machine learning rockstar with AWS DeepComposer. DeepComposer is the most fun way I've seen to get started with machine learning. You don't need prior machine learning experience, musical ability, and you don't even need a physical keyboard to get started, although it's more fun that way. Just come as you are, and by the end of this session, you'll be on your way to winning your first Grammy for your musical creation. Hi, I'm Keisha Williams, an AWS machine learning hero and a senior AWS training architect at A Cloud Guru. Let me tell you a little bit more about me. I've been in IT for 25 years, and I've built a solid career in the Java software engineering space, holding several engineering and management level positions. About 7 years ago, I added AWS and the cloud to my developer tool belt. And about 3 years ago, I added on machine learning. And AWS allowed me to jumpstart my machine learning journey. So I went from Java to machine learning. And throughout my career, I've always had a heart to teach, mentor, and share my lessons learned. And that's why I'm here with you today. So what's in store for the composers out there today? I'll give you an overview of DeepComposer. We'll talk about the process to generate music. We'll talk about the generative AI techniques that power DeepComposer. I will show you how to create your first AI-generated musical track in 5 minutes or less. And I'll share with you some awesome opportunities that allow you to continue your learning journey. By the time we're finished here today, you'll be ready to compose your first musical composition using AWS DeepComposer and generative AI. So this is AWS DeepComposer. AWS DeepComposer is a machine learning enabled keyboard with an associated service in the console. It provides a creative and hands-on experience for learning generative AI and machine learning. And I'm often asked, is this a toy? And my answer is no, it's a real keyboard that teaches you machine learning. Think of it as an educational service that includes learning capsules, sample code, sample melodies, and training data to help you understand using generative AI models. And no prior knowledge is required. You don't need prior machine learning skills. You don't need musical ability. And I had so much fun learning how to play simple chords for some of my favorite songs. It will really bring out your inner Mozart and give you hands-on with generative AI. To start using AWS DeepComposer, you need two things, a trained model and an input track. If you're new to machine learning, a model is just a collection of trends and patterns found after a machine studies data. And in this case, it studies musical tracks for a specific genre, like jazz, symphony, rock, pop, or Bach. Let's talk more about this process. Like I mentioned, it starts with an input melody. You can play a melody on the keyboard, import a melody, or choose a sample melody from the console. There is a new feature that allows you to edit your melody before using it. The Music Studio has tools for trimming melodies and changing tempo and pitch. Then you choose a generative AI technique. And based on the technique you choose, you select a pre-trained genre model, such as rock, pop, jazz, symphony, and more. Then you generate your composition using AI. And based on your technique, accompanying instruments are added, or your input melody is changed, or your input melody is extended. After you generate a composition, you can change the instruments, download your new composition, or share it with friends or maybe fans around the world on SoundCloud via a direct integration. Right now, there are 3 generative AI techniques to choose from. GANs, which is my favorite because it's more forgiving to those of us that lack musical ability, like myself. It uses 2 neural networks that consist of a generator and a discriminator. The generator produces music, and the discriminator provides feedback until what the generator produces sounds like real music. The autoregressive convolutional neural network modifies your supplied or selected input melody to produce new music. And transformers, this is a brand new feature. It uses a transformers-based technique that extends the input melody you've provided. This technique works well on large data sets and is designed to handle sequential data. There are learning capsules that teach each of these techniques in more detail. And if you're just learning, that's a great place to start. Now let's have a demo. Let me show you how easy it is to produce your first AI-generated composition. And literally, we're going to do this in 5 minutes or less. When you first log into the AWS DeepComposer console, this is the screen you'll see. The first thing you'll need to do is expand this left-hand menu and select the Music Studio. The Music Studio is your friend. If you don't remember anything else from the presentation today, remember the Music Studio. In this Music Studio, down here you will see the virtual keyboard. So no, you don't actually have to have a physical AWS DeepComposer keyboard in order to create a melody. For example, I can use my mouse and control this virtual keyboard. Or I can use the keys on my computer's keyboard. Now, if you're like me and you actually have the DeepComposer keyboard, you can use the keyboard to control the virtual keyboard. Remember I told you the first thing you need is a sample input melody. You can import one, you can play one on the virtual or the physical keyboard, or you can select from an existing melody, and that's the fastest way to get started. So let's do that. You can select an existing melody by clicking on Input Melody, and here it shows you a list of everything that's available. So let's select New World, and then you can play it. Sounds really good. You also have the option to edit that melody by clicking on Edit Melody. And we're not going to do that today, but I just wanted you to see that it is an option available. So I'll click on Cancel. Now that we have our melody, we need to select our generative AI technique. And I told you before, my favorite is generative adversarial networks, or GANs. So I select that as the technique. I'm going to use the Muse GAN generative algorithm. And then this is where you select the pre-trained model. Out of the box, you have rock, pop, jazz, Jonathan Coulton, and symphony. In this case, I'm going to select jazz. Now you have the option to change the tempo and change the pitch before you actually generate the composition. I'm going to leave those as is and click Generate Composition. It usually takes a few seconds, and then you should have your brand new composition. And here we have it. Notice the AI added 3 accompanying instruments, a grand piano, bass, and drums. So let's give it a listen. Nice. And what I really like, you can actually go in and change those accompanying instruments. So let's say you're not a fan of a grand piano. So you click this, and you can select your instrument type, let's say brass, and you can select your instrument, let's say trombone. So now you've changed it from the piano. Let's play it again. Nice. Now, once you have your composition, and I would recommend just have fun playing around with different combinations of instruments until you find a sound that you really love. And then once you have that composition and that sound that you really love, you can upload it to SoundCloud to share it with the world. And don't forget, you can actually train your own music genre model using Amazon SageMaker. So for example, if you're not a huge fan of rock, pop, or jazz, or Jonathan Coulton, or symphony, you can go in, use Amazon SageMaker, and train, let's say, a hip-hop model or a reggae model. And I've actually done just that, and I've authored a blog post on the AWS Machine Learning blog that shows you how to create your own custom genre model using Python and Jupyter notebooks. There you have it. That was a quick demo of AWS DeepComposer. There are several resources available to help you continue your learning journey. There is a free 6-episode series I created on A Cloud Guru that deep dives on the generative adversarial networks technique, and the last episode you can't miss because it is a musical showdown. There's Chartbusters. This is a monthly challenge that allows you to submit your musical creation to be judged against others. I've served as a judge twice, and this competition is a lot of fun. I've mentioned the learning capsules that teach you different techniques. These are available in the DeepComposer console. I mentioned the blog post I wrote. Here's a link. It shows you how I trained a custom reggae model. And there's my playlist on SoundCloud that lets you hear all of my AI generated tracks. Hopefully, they will inspire you. There is a special Reinvent Chartbusters challenge that runs until January 31st. It's called Keep Calm and Model On. And this is a look at what you'll win, an actual gold record. So good luck. Go to AWS DeepComposer Chartbusters to learn more. And there is a special offer for US residents, 25% off of AWS DeepComposer with the code REINVENT2020. So please take advantage of that. I hope to hear your AI generated tracks soon. So head on over to the DeepComposer console and start composing. Thanks for watching.